Welcome to the Superconscious Success Podcast, where Jen and her Superconscious Success family co-hosts bring you valuable content each and every week on topics relating to manifestation, spirituality, and most of all, using your superconscious to manifest success in all areas of your life. Now on to today's episode.
Hey there, Superconscious Success fam. Just before we get into the interview, this is just a brief message. This is actually a recording of the 2021 Superconscious Success Summit interviews. If you do want to check out the introductory for all of the guests, then you can go across to our Superconscious Success YouTube channel where you'll be able to find all the introductions. These particular podcast interviews will be the interview only. Okay, thank you. Now let's get on to the interview. Hey, Superconscious Success fam. Welcome back to the Superconscious Success Super Summit. Today we're talking to Tanya Otterstein-Liehs, who's an authoritative expert on self-care. She's a certified fitness coach and is a motivational speaker. You may wonder why Tanya's on this Super Summit, not the Health and Wellness Summit we're having later on in the year. Well, that's because in today's talk, we're going to be discussing self-love, which is critical if you're going to be able to live your most fulfilled life and manifest that which you're wanting to bring into your existence. She's been featured on Rogers TV, on Worldly Podcasts, and even quoted in magazines. She's also a co-author, a host of her own podcast show, and even has her own YouTube channel. Now, that's just a little bit about Tanya. So before we go into how you can adopt self-love into your own life, I'll let Tanya tell a story. Hi, Tanya. How are you going today?
Oh, hello, Jennifer. I'm fine. And how are you?
Oh, I am fantastic, surviving this 35 degrees Celsius heat here. Trying to keep the house locked up and stuff so that it's a little bit cooler. But yeah, no, doing well. What's the weather over there?
Well, being in Canada and Ontario, with the wind, it was about minus 15 today, which is not cold. And not much snow, but yeah, totally different. But you know what? No matter what, you got to love it. You got to enjoy it and
absolutely.
Get outside.
Oh, totally. Yesterday was 40 degrees and I started to go for my walk because I have a walk every afternoon. I started to go for my walk. I had to turn back. It was just like, no, this is just too hot. So I come home and get on the treadmill instead. Well, it's a bit hot. So.
Yeah, that's too hot. That's definitely too hot.
Totally. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Tanya? What got you into the area that you're in now?
Yeah, so I always like to say it's a journey. So my journey began as a certified personal trainer or fitness professional. And why did I get into it? Because I always believed in moving your body, implementing exercise, being physically active. Been doing that as long as I can remember. So that this is the career I'm going to be in, because helping people realize how important movement is fundamental. This valuable lesson you can't get enough of. And then as it was my career, I wasn't even thinking about other things that I was doing.
Yeah.
Mainly shifting my clients' mindset. And they'd start to tell me, Tanya, you're changing the way I see myself. Tanya, I've been on antidepressants for 5, 8, 10 years, and I'm off of them now. I'm feeling better than before. Tanya, you're keeping me motivated. Tanya, you're my psychologist. All the same messages.
Yeah.
And a light bulb went off and said, okay, I was doing this, didn't even realize it. So I'm going to shift myself into realizing what is my message. And it is, movement or exercise is important. Balanced eating is important. But your mindset, if it is not in a place of self-love and making yourself important and taking care of yourself, doesn't matter how much you do of the other two, you're never going to see value for yourself and love who you are. And that's when I shifted 4 years ago, that yes, we need to move our body, but let's look at the mindset and let's shift and release that negative self-talk we hear all the time. And it's been a beautiful journey, and it continues to be beautiful. And when I hear how women tell me that they never felt they deserved self-love. They never saw
Mm.
themselves as someone important. And Tanya, you've changed that. I mean, there's no words to express how that feels. And just to see them, you can see it on their physically and on their faces that, they kind of went from like droopy shoulders and not smiling. And all of a sudden they're literally glowing. And people are telling my clients, like, there's something different about you, and you're smiling all the time and you're happy all the time. So yeah, that's my pure passion, is being that, that coach that helps women shift their mindset and really
Yeah.
valuing who we are and making self-love and self-care important.
Absolutely, because I think that's the thing is we put so much emphasis on exercise and nutrition, and we push ourselves, and we start becoming addicted to exercise and working 3 or 4 hours a day, but we don't deal with the mindset part of it, and we don't deal with our self-worth,
Yeah.
and we still look in the mirror and don't like what we see. And I think that if you're looking at how the universe works too, that works against you anyway, if what you're seeing in the mirror is something that you don't like. So I think you working on with these women on self-love is absolutely critical. So you, on your podcast that you've got, you interview experts as well, don't you? And what?
I do. Yeah. Actually, I have, it's interesting. I'll say experts in self-love and
Yes.
self-care, as in the value of that message. So yeah, my podcast, I have health, wellness, fitness enthusiasts like myself, but I also have other women that are, have their own worldwide podcasts, have their own TV show, have their own radio show, have their own podcast, been author of menopausal coach, like all these people from different fields of life, because they share that same message about valuing who you are, having self-worth.
Yeah.
And, again, like you mentioned, Jennifer, looking in the mirror and loving that reflection instead of saying
Yeah.
another gray hair, another wrinkle, and
Yeah.
my
Oh, I
body's
don't like my
changing, I don't
stomach,
like
and
it.
I don't like my legs, and I don't like my butt. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's I love it because they're women from all walks of life that I have. And, it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
It's a wholehearted, authentic conversation.
Absolutely, because I think that's the thing is we put so much emphasis on exercise and nutrition, and we push ourselves, and we start becoming addicted to exercise and working 3 or 4 hours a day, but we don't deal with the mindset part of it, and we don't deal with our self-worth,
Yeah.
and we still look in the mirror and don't like what we see. And I think that if you're looking at how the universe works too, that works against you anyway, if what you're seeing in the mirror is something that you don't like. So I think you working on with these women on self-love is absolutely critical. So you, on your podcast that you've got, you interview experts as well, don't you? And what?
I do. Yeah. Actually, I have, it's interesting. I'll say experts in self-love and
Yes.
self-care, as in the value of that message. So yeah, my podcast, I have health, wellness, fitness enthusiasts like myself, but I also have other women that are, have their own worldwide podcasts, have their own TV show, have their own radio show, have their own podcasts, been author of menopausal coach, like all these people from different fields of life, because they share that same message about valuing who you are, having self-worth.
Yeah.
And, again, like you mentioned, Jennifer, looking in the mirror and loving that reflection instead of saying
Yeah.
another gray hair, another wrinkle,
Yeah.
and my
Oh, I
body's
don't like my
changing, I don't
stomach,
like
and
it.
I don't like my legs, and I don't like my butt. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I love it because they're women from all walks of life that I have. And, it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
It's a wholehearted, authentic conversation.
Absolutely. And so self-love, I think it's something that we have to sort of grow into. I think it's we've kind of been told that if we stop loving yourself, right? Because then we're seen as being egotistical and up ourselves and all of that. So how important is it that we have that self-love within ourselves?
Yeah, Jennifer, you know what? It's a journey that never ends. I mean, I've been doing, as far as tuning into myself for 25 plus years, and it's a never ending journey. And I say it's baby steps, because if we try to shift our mind 100%, 90%, 80%, then you're really going to set up yourself for failure.
Yes.
So it's little things. It's waking up every day and giving yourself a compliment. Be grateful that you are who you are. And again, I always say, we always have that negative mindset. I have it too, right?
Yeah.
So the difference about giving it power and hearing it. So let me explain what that means. Yes, I hear my negative voice. However, I'm going to choose not to give it power and shift with something positive instead.
Yes.
So when you do little things like that, all of a sudden it becomes naturally. And, you slowly stop comparing, because we're great as women comparing ourselves to everybody else. And, uplifting yourself and saying, yeah, they're beautiful, but you know what? I'm beautiful too.
So
And,
do
and,
you,
and
so,
yeah.
yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah. And, giving yourself the choice, allowing yourself permission to give yourself a choice, and say to yourself, what makes me special?
Mm.
What makes me unique? Because I don't want to be like somebody else,
No,
right?
no.
What makes me who I am? And realize that the people in your life, they love you for who you are, not because you're somebody else. So yeah, Jennifer, it's a daily thing. Again, it's those simple, small steps that'll lead you to this continuous, beautiful journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that like I say, I even talk to my own kids about it, and I like to write a list of, as you say, your talents and all of those things that are authentic to you and unique to you. Because once you've got it written down, or you can kind of put it all together and realize how absolutely unique you are as a person. And
Mm-hmm.
I like to say too, being a subconscious creator, I like to actually say that connecting with your higher self is of utmost importance, because our higher
Yeah.
self only thinks the best of us.
Yeah.
It doesn't have negativity associated with it. It knows how amazing we all are.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we're able to tap into that and listen to that, rather than listen to this egoic voice that's going on in our head that can be negative, it's only there to try to protect us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, some of the messages that come across are not beneficial to us at all. So, like you said, I think being able to not give it that power and say, yes, I accept that you're there,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not giving you the power, and then trying to transform it into something positive.
Yeah.
So what's the best way of doing that? Like, if you have a negative thought come in,
Yeah.
what's the best way of
Yeah.
just going, stop the power and think positive?
Yeah, you need to be very conscious about it.
Hmm.
And there's, other things too. A tip that I give to help as well, Jennifer, with that is, if you're not feeling the greatest, put on
Mm.
music and dance.
Oh,
Put on
totally.
put on something you love, right? Whether it be
Yeah.
a piece of clothing, whether it be a scarf, whether it be a piece of jewelry, because that little step
Yep.
all of a sudden uplifts you. You may not even realize, like, that was
Uh,
a simple thing. I just put on
it
these
increases
earrings
your
because I love it.
vibration. It
Yeah,
increases your
exactly.
vibration.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I know it's funny. I'll just interject just for a sec. But I know it's funny because my daughter, she's almost 17, and at the hormonal stage, as they do at 17. But if she's feeling a little bit down, the first thing she does is go in her room and she blasts her music. Like she just because it makes her feel good, and her friends will come
Yeah.
over and they'll have like a dance party,
Mm-hmm.
and she'll be feeling down, and the next minute she'll be out and she'll be laughing, and you can tell that the vibration has just gone up so much
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because she's listening to something that's high vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree. I love the dance party.
Yeah. It's you know, I myself too have an 8-year-old son, and my daughter's gonna be 15 in January. So yeah, I get it, the
You get
hormones,
it?
and they can
Yeah.
be so hard on themselves, right? And we as moms, we uplift our kids. We give them positive feedback. We give them and friends, you know, all these compliments. But how often do you do it to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And we really need to hear our own voice. You know, that inner voice, that gut feeling that so many women tend to ignore. It's there for a reason. And you know, I've often heard that, you know, I didn't hear it, I didn't hear it, I didn't hear it, but then this huge thing happened and I had no choice. Well, yeah, there's a reason. There's a
Yeah.
reason, right?
Because it was trying to get your attention. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Because you're
yeah.
not listening. And the thing is, we're so busy in today's world that
Mhm.
we've constantly got something going on that we don't listen to our intuition or our higher self or our inner being or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah,
And so we miss all of these important messages that it's trying to get to us. And eventually, what will happen, as you just said, is that something big will happen. And
mhm,
that will just be
mhm.
its way of saying, look, you've got to listen. I'm trying to tell you something here and you're not
Yeah.
listening to me.
Yeah, you know, Jennifer, and part of this whole message of self-love, self-care, a lot of women, people have in the mindset it's sacrifices.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. Give
Especially
yourself
as mothers, I think. As mothers,
yeah,
we
give
put
yourself
ourselves last.
yeah. I mean, you're become a if I use, you know, I use the word better, but you become a better mom, a better person when you give yourself time every day. And I'm not saying it needs to be an hour, but, you know, a minute just is like, oh, wait, how am I feeling? Okay, I'm going to relax my breath. I'm going to look out the window. I'm going to just relax my breathing and take 1 minute, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. That's all it takes.
It
Simplify
does.
baby steps. That's all it takes. And you made a choice. You allowed it to happen. And if you're just feeling strung, then you know what? And you're frustrated because you can't get your work done. Guess what? Sitting there and getting more frustrated is the worst thing you could
Move
do.
away from it.
Yeah, exactly. On yourself, give yourself the choice to just, you know what, walk away. I'm going to go outside, get fresh air, go for a walk around the block, or I'm going to stand by the window, look outside, or I'm going to move my body. Taking those few moments, all of a sudden you come back and it's like, I've cleared my mind and all like, I'm so productive now, right?
Mhm.
And simple things, right? Is ways of taking care of yourself, is ways of loving yourself, is ways of honoring yourself, and you can do it. You can do it.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've got a 18-year-old boy and almost 19, a 17-year-old girl. And as a mum, sometimes we put all of our energy into the kids because
Yeah.
that's what we're told we're supposed to do. And then we let ourselves go or
Hmm.
we don't look after our own health. And
Yeah.
what good are we to our kids if we are not looked
That's
after?
right. That's
And
right.
so I realized this probably about 6 months ago. And I realized that I was still putting them first, even though, you know, they were at the age they were independent. And so, you know, I started realizing I started putting myself first. I take myself on a walk every day, which was kind of my meditation walk. It was a walk just for me to connect with my higher self more than anything. And I remember a couple of times my husband and my kids asked me, "Oh, can I come on your walk?" And I said, "No, sorry, you're not invited. This is for me.
Yeah.
I can go on a walk with you any other time, but this
Yeah.
walk is for me and my higher self, and nobody else is invited." And so they
Yeah.
just now.
Yeah, no, it's true, right? You need to, and then you know what? People say, "Oh, I can't do that." It's like, no, you can, and you know what? Then your family will see that. Wow, you really needed this. You know, I can see that you're feeling better now. So they will not. You know, we have it. Women tend to have it in their mind that, oh, but if I do this, I do, or I say this, what are they going to think? What is their reaction going to be? Well, the heck with them. Think
Exactly.
about you, honor yourself, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, I do the same. I mean, if I, now it's getting colder, so of course we're not riding our bike anymore outside, but we have trainers. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go on half an hour, 45 minutes. This is my time. Or I'm going to quick have a little workout. This is my time.
Exactly.
And it doesn't take much, right? You become stronger and you become more self-aware.
Yeah.
And the more you do it every day, the more you realize that you really do need it. And this becomes a daily habit. It becomes a daily routine. I always say this, think of those 5 minutes you didn't take for yourself today,
Yep.
and you're doing that every day. Okay. Those 5 minutes that you didn't take for yourself and you needed today to do, and you needed to do it yesterday and tomorrow.
Mm.
In a week, that's 35 minutes less of your life.
Yeah.
So when you think of it, and think of it, okay, now think of the bigger picture. In a month, I've just taken 35, an hour here, 35 minutes, 2 hours. I've just taken 3 hours out of my life.
Yep.
I've shortened my life expectancy. So when you like hear it like that, it's like, you're right. Because when I'm laying on my deathbed and you hear it all the time,
Yep. There's always
what do I
regret,
want to
isn't there?
remember, right? Do I want to remember what I wish I would have done and I didn't? Or do I want to remember that, yeah, you know what? I feel pretty fulfilled because I did things I wanted and I needed to do. I took care of myself.
Yeah.
I love myself for who I am, and I was still able to do the other stuff because of that.
Yeah, I mean, my kids, I have to say, because ever since they were little, I've always worked from home. I've always had my own business, and so they've always known that if I'm busy or the door's closed, not to interrupt and that sort of thing. They've been really good with that,
Yeah.
and they're very good. If I go into my meditation nook, they don't interrupt me. They're very good like that. But they're also used to me doing a lot of walking. And so they're also used to me just accepting that they can just come on the walk with me. And so the look on their face when I said, no, sorry, this is my time. And my husband jokes and he goes, oh no, I'm not invited on that walk because that walk is up for her.
I'm with you on that. Boat is something I've always done. Like I said, I'm like doing this over 25 years. So it's,
Yeah,
before I was married and before, we had kids, I did this,
yeah,
right? So it's, I know people listening to this are from all walks of life and different stages of their life. So for me to say it's simple,
yeah,
it is for me now because I've been doing it for 25 years, but never think you cannot start. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
never ever think
Never
that.
too
It's
old to
like
start.
it's like moving your body. Never say you're too old to move your body or exercise, right? You start it today. And
Mhm.
again, write in your gratitude journal. Like I like to write my gratitude journal. And if by chance I didn't, I just send out my thoughts that way, what I'm grateful for.
Absolutely.
And then tomorrow take 5 minutes again for yourself, and the week after, the day after, start doing it every day, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, half an hour, and then it becomes routine, and it is then simplified, and it becomes a part of your life. So never think you can't do it. Never think you're not deserving. Never think it's not for you, because we all need to love ourselves. We all need to take care of ourselves. We all need to give ourselves permission. We all need to realize we do have the choice. You do have permission. And number one, you do need to be accountable, right?
Yes,
I mean, there's those of us there to hold your hand, but ideally, you need to be accountable for yourself to make it happen, and not get angry with yourself if you didn't. Just say, okay, you know what? I didn't do it, but I do have 5 minutes right now to do it.
yeah, and then
So
you
I'm
can move
how
on.
many
Yeah,
hours in a day, right? There's how many hours in a day. And let's be honest here, Jennifer. How many hours are you scrolling social media on your phone or a computer, right? Okay. If you feel you really need to do that, then instead of spending an hour or two, say, okay, I'm going to spend 45 minutes.
yeah,
And those other 15 kids or me. And please, everyone, get off your digital devices an hour before you go to bed. That is part
Oh,
of self-care. That is part of
totally.
self-love. That's a conversation for another day.
Totally.
Oh,
And it's one that has a lot of resistance to it, but it's something that's really important if you're wanting to get quality sleep. And
yeah.
to function at your best, you need quality sleep. Now, one thing that I like to do in terms of this whole self-love thing is I do a lot of mirror work. Do you do mirror work as well?
When I look in the mirror, yeah, I'm always giving myself a compliment.
Yeah.
It's just, again, I've done it naturally, right? And, you know, that now that you're talking about Jennifer in the mirror, I'm just going to add on too, you know, for some people like to wear makeup, some people don't. There's days I do, there's days I don't, but
Yeah.
enhance that feature that you really like. So I really love my blue eyes, so I enhance them.
Yeah.
So that's just a little tip.
Absolutely, absolutely. And whatever
Yeah.
you can do to make yourself feel good and to feel comfortable in your body, then I think that's really important. And you know, looking after our body is critical. So now, gratitude is something that you just briefly mentioned, and I think it's something that is critically important for us.
Yeah.
And so I assume you do gratitudes every day. I do it throughout the day, so I'm just forever grateful for so many different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a morning routine that you do every morning?
I do. Thank you for asking. So yeah, when I wake up, before I get out of bed, I stretch as I'm lying in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turn over my body and just sit there, you know, just why jump out of bed? Sit
Mm-hmm.
there, open the blinds, even if it's dark outside, there's still the moonlight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I get upstairs, I go downstairs, put the kettle on, make myself a warm lemon water. I
Nice.
do not go on social media. I do not grab my phone. I do not go on the computer first thing in the morning. That's a big no-no
Mm-hmm.
because I want to stay focused on me. I want to stay focused on how I'm feeling. So yeah, I make myself a lemon water. I tune into how I'm feeling, and then I write in my gratitude book. I send it out there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then after my lemon water, I have a green tea. So that is always my morning ritual. And my evening ritual is always when I lie in bed. Sometimes I'll read a magazine, but it's like, okay, what's the best thing that happened today? And
Yeah.
even throughout the day, if something great happened, I'll say, thank you, universe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether, you know, someone said something or whether I received a message, you know, or whether I was thinking about something and it happened, it's like, thank you, universe. So yeah, those are my rituals, my routines that I do. And it's just something that comes natural.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's finding quiet time. I get up before the kids are up.
Yeah.
So I have that quiet time because, you know, I mean, it's different now. You know, we are still here in Canada. We're in COVID, so the school is very different. The kids don't go every day. It's online. And regardless, though, right, I need my time to focus on myself before everything else is
Yeah.
going on, and quiet time. You know, I love the quiet.
Absolutely. And I'm the same. I mean, I'm an early riser, so I'm normally up at about 4:30 in the morning. So
Yeah.
that's when I tend to do my meditations, do my gratitudes, go for my morning walk, and which the kids, if they're up that early, are invited on. But I think my son's been on it once for me, but it's too early for them. Like they're teenagers, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed with your teen that their sleep schedule is very different
Oh
because their
yeah.
circadian rhythm, they're not tired until about midnight.
Yes.
And then therefore they sleep in a bit longer.
Mhm.
But in saying that, I think that's one thing with COVID is that they have that flexibility to actually put a bit more time into themselves
Yeah.
because teens are very well, and kids in general, for not taking care of themselves. And I try to make it very clear to the kids about the importance of self-care and of self-love. So I don't know if you noticed that with your teen as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially with my 18-year-old. He just turned 18.
Yeah.
a week ago, and I could see as it was building up, it's like, yeah, like before, he'd say, yeah, I'd be tired, but I'd kind of be lying there because I wasn't really tired when school was on. And he had to, get up a certain time, catch the city bus to get to school a certain time. Where's my daughter too? She has a set time she has to go to bed because even with online learning, they have to log on.
Okay.
And the teachers there, so they have to log on. But yeah, it's not, getting up as early anymore it used to. But yeah, he's like, hey, we're off to bed, and he's doing whatever, research or whatever on his computer. It's like, oh my God, what time? And then in the morning, it's like we do wake him up at 9 o'clock. It's like, hey, you have to get up now, because he only has one course right now, and it's only every 10 days. So those days where he's not doing anything, he still has to get up at 9. But if he does have that course, then yeah, he'll get up at 7. But yeah, it's so true, right? When our kids are young, oh my gosh, they're raring to go at what time in the morning?
Yeah, exactly. And teenagers are a whole different kettle of fish. And I think that's the thing. I think also as mums, it's really important that we part of that self-care is picking and choosing the battles that we have with our teenagers.
Oh yeah. Like boys' rooms. Oh, my son's room is like, okay, you know what? I don't have to sleep in it. I don't have to go in there. Yeah, if you want to go to the mess, he knows he has to do his laundry and all that. And my daughter, she's starting to get a bit messy too. It's like, okay, whatever. I mean, there is a point where it's like, okay, you know what? This floor now, you really got to pick it up.
Yeah, if you can't actually find a space to step, it's time to clean it. I'm actually pretty lucky because my son, his room's always pretty clean. He started, there'd be a little bit of rubbish here, a little bit of rubbish there, but he takes it out. My daughter, I don't know how she does it. She messes her room up, but every night she cleans it before she goes to bed.
Yeah. So, my daughter will naturally, my daughter will naturally do that. Yeah.
Because So, but total kettle of fish. But I think as parents, we need to pick and choose our battles and realize that, you know what, the kids they've got their own little system going, and we just have to trust in that and take care of ourselves. And
we were teenagers too, right?
Yeah. And you know what, that's the thing, I keep remembering back to that, and I'm like, geez, that was a challenging time. Being a teen and having all those hormones, and 1 minute my daughter will be crying and the next minute she'll be happy and she'll go, well, I don't know what's wrong with me. I say, yeah, that's just hormones. You're all good.
Exactly. What do they say for women? It's like that later teens is like premenopause for us, right? So yeah. And then guys, it's just like whatever. I always say the boys are easier going than the girls. That's just how my kids are.
Yeah, no, it's the same. And I kind of understand it. I mean, they've got really one hormone they have to worry about. We've got like 5,000 of them. So
yeah, it's true. But Jennifer, it's something that you mentioned before too. Is as a parent too, they see it, how I make my own self-care and self-love important. So, they just naturally, what comes to them, like we were, in the summer, we were gone like cycling 4 or 5 times a week, as a family and individually. And even now that, we're no longer cycling outside, they still go on trainer because they've come to realize how they need to burn off their stress, and how exercise is so important, not only for the body, but for the brain function, right? So that's something, and they've forever know how important balanced eating is. And when I say balanced, you can enjoy a piece of homemade cake. You can enjoy a piece of dark chocolate. You can enjoy, let's say, a granola bar, right? There's a difference about having all that all the time or having it, occasionally. There's nothing wrong with that because there's balancing it out with vegetables and fruit. So that's what when I say balance, I find that people are very strict. Then when you deny something you're craving, when you finally give in, you're going to explode and then you're going to feel guilty, right? So that's why
if I have something sweet or something, I'll just have a small bit. I'll just have a bit. And often, like when I'm at work, a few of us go out and we might get a little cake, but then we'll split it in 3, and we'll just have just a little bit of it. And
you're satisfied, right? It's like, yeah, that was really good. And when you have a little bit, it's like you're then conscious of the flavors
Yeah.
and how it feels and the textures, and you're not denying yourself. It's like, yeah, that was really good.
And
And
if
you're
I
good to
don't
go.
feel like it's going to be amazing, I don't eat it. It's
Yeah.
like, unless it's not like I'm just eating for the sake of it. It's like,
Yeah.
if it's something that looks really good and I'm really looking forward to it, then I'll have a
Yeah.
little bit. But otherwise, I'm like, is it really worth it?
Yeah, it's all about intuitive eating.
Yeah,
Something I talk to, women about too is intuitive eating, and that is part of your own self-care and loving yourself too. Is really
absolutely.
being mindful
Mm-hmm.
of how you're feeling, being mindful of your food and listening to your body. Right? It's like, okay, am I full now, or am I not full, and do I need this, or right? So yeah,
Yes.
the mindful. It all. It's. I'll say it's one full circle, right? It's being intuitive of your eating. It's being intuitive of how you feel. It's being intuitive, listening to how you're talking to yourself and about yourself, and how you're seeing yourself again. All that mindset.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, this has been an
Yeah.
awesome chat, Tanya. And I've really enjoyed talking to people about self-love, and really get out there and really start to realize how amazing you are, and start to love yourself for the person that you are. And don't be scared to love yourself, because we may be told that we're selfish or we're egotistical if we put ourselves first, but it is critical that we do that,
Yeah.
because we can't look after anybody else unless we look after
No,
ourselves first. So
exactly.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. And I believe I'm actually going to be on your podcast next year, because of course we're recording still at the end of 2020 for our wonderful summit in March. But I'm really looking forward to that, and we can have a bit more of an in-depth chat at that point.
Yeah, I'm looking forward as well, Jennifer, having you on my podcast, and we can continue this beautiful conversation about
Absolutely.
self-love and self-care and really being mindful of our thoughts.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much for your time today, and you have a great sleep tonight, because it's almost night time. Well, it is night time there, and,
Yes, it is.
and I'm going to go on and continue my day. So have a great day, great night, Tanya.
You too. Have a wonderful your day ahead, and thank you again for having me on this conversation here today.
You're very welcome. Thanks very much.